Hey there, how you doing? I'm Yalek, and going to do a Fat Fingers video for you. This, if you don't know it, is Fat Fingers. We are a 5-man task force out of the 9 family of task forces. We have been pushing the leaderboard for a bit. This is where we are currently sitting. Earlier in the day I saw us at number 19 at one point, but that was a couple hours ago, so other task forces have collected their force points and moved ahead of us. But anyway, we had today's operation. You can see we have some time left. All attacks used can start new operation in 19 hours and 2 minutes. This operation, today's, happened within the course of 20 minutes. If you look at the first hit, which would be at the bottom, up to the last hit, which would be at the top. First hit was at 4 hours and 50 minutes ago, and then the 5th and final hit was at 4 hours and 31 minutes ago. So basically within 20 minutes we started the operation this afternoon, and 20 minutes later the whole thing was dead, and we got max points off the operation. Max points, I mean, we got 1131 force points out of possible 1250 for a dead end. We got all of the biggest bases: 298 right here, 262 over here, 226, 190, 155, and the only one left is the 119, which of course we can't get because it's the 6th base and we are a 5-man team. So we got all of the biggest bases for the operation, max possible force points for any 5-man ever, and did it all within 20 minutes. Not to brag at all, but my guys are pretty good. Anyway, we're going to watch through these. This is Sven Slinken on Machina 262. That is nearly 2 million on this core. Just under 2 million. By the way, if you hear weird noises in the background, that might be my dogs who are chewing on their bones like heathens. And I know that's not ideal for making a video, but that was the price of a few minutes peace and quiet. So apologize or not for the noises. That is what they are. Meanwhile, Sven is landing his Zukas, has cleared his mines, is going with the bullet approach on this Machina, which is my favorite. Extra smoke for his kill zone to make sure that he gets the maximum possible time out of the delay, which you can do on this hit because you don't need a lot of GBE. You really only need just this one shock here. I typically on the first round of shocks will do that other shock as well, but do not actually need to do that. It's more of a luxury kind of thing, basically. He actually had the GBE for 2 full rounds of shocks here. If need be, you can get by with just the hit on this one set of stuff down here. One shock on that set of stuff down there. So GBE is usually not an issue here, would we say? So just under 2 million. That is a pretty healthy Machina. And that is about as clean a version of that as you could possibly want. I went next. I had the 298, the top base on the op, and fairly standard Axiom here. I was a little, I can say I was proud of this walk, but I was very happy with this walk for sure. Left this mine here. I had failed a hit in another task force like 8 minutes before this probably, and I was kind of in a pissy mood because of that. So I left the shock mine. I knew it was safe. If you use these flare points, in particular this one at the upper, just above the left corner of that cell there, you'll never hit the mine there. It doesn't matter. But it boom mine, regular mine, shock mine. you'll never hit that mine if you use that flare point. But, you know, just because it's a shock mine, you might go safe and clear it. I did not, and that is because there was a little bit of annoyance behind this hit, and so I kind of wanted to do it the harder way, I don't know. Anyway, 3 shocks from there. We're looking at about 2.1 million on this. Tons and tons of GBE, because there's not a lot of GBE required for this hit either. So it was ready with extra critters and an extra shock to buy more time if needed, but it wasn't even needed because even at 2.1 million, this base isn't. Yeah, I have 6 damage statues. It's no match for that. Shortly after me, and this was the last hit that I got to see live at the beginning of the operation, and I had to head out after that. So we've got Dioxin, Perrins on Dioxin, and he's doing something that I absolutely love. He is going to bomber farm on the right side. As I recall, he bomber farms quite a bit on that side. He's cleared the mines that he needs to, going to be extra cautious, and cleared that shock mine there, probably because he had not failed his op hit 7 minutes before this, and my room was not as pissy as I was. Anyway, for my hit, sorry. Regardless, I love taking advantage of GBE that is there. Bombers are fantastic for that, and this Dioxin is not the highest health in the world, 1.4 and some change. He does have a hot beach, a partially hot beach to deal with here, plus the prospect of a laser beam early on in the walk. That could be a problem. So going ahead and getting yourself lots of extra GBE is a good idea. That means if you have need for like an extra smoke or something, you definitely have the GBE for it. And in particular, the bomber farming. I love bomber farming. It is just so much fun, and you can do so many things. Approach bases in fun ways. So, yeah, always a fan. Well, nope, that's exactly the same speed again. I just did that 3 times in a row. Terrible. Anyway, yeah, so 7 boats now, because the boat of bombers died to the right. They did their bit, and then they had to go. I would hate this corner here. That was better than I usually do. This is not my favorite hit, in case you can't tell. I can do it, don't get me wrong. It's just not my favorite. 4 pretty standard shocks from here. The laser was a pain on the walk, but doesn't range for the kill zone. And that is pretty clean looking, to be honest there. A lot of Zukas left over. A very, very nice version of that. Plus, obviously, a great tactical choice in choosing to farm. I always approve. Then we have Maverick on sliding block, which I don't think he was. I don't know how much he's done this hit. I don't want to say he doesn't have experience with this hit. I don't know how much he has. So I had given some advice in chat, and he went ahead and used this troop loadout. 6 boats of Zukas, 2 boats of heavies, and a bullet. I kind of feel like he wouldn't have. I don't know. He appreciated the suggestion and probably wouldn't have if he had more experience with this base. So, with that said, what that means is you're watching somebody try something relatively unpracticed, right? So, and it was a success, and this is the 226 base on this operation, so obviously that is a good job if you're doing something new and still pull out a win. This is why I love having the heavies and bullet here, because there's generally going to be a rocket launcher staring at you from the opposite direction of this whole quad thingy that's going on here. Bullet, at this point, you don't need to shock anymore. You can just keep taunting. Now, Mav throws an extra shock in there, but Bullet, because of where he's standing, he will taunt everything in that little middle area, and that's the advantage of having him here. Him and the heavies to eat up fire from this rocket launcher, and then Bullet keeps things taunted so you don't have to do repeat shocks. And that is actually a big deal, because on this version of Sliding Block, this was an ugly version of Sliding Block. This version has a lot of things that you might not like around the core. Generally not this nasty. A laser beam over here, all of these rockets have to get shocked. You're going to need to do some kind of shocking on these machine guns, plus you have rocket launchers all over here. The ones at the corner, you probably want to shock. So that means you need to save your shocks for the core area. Shocks get expensive. If you use a bunch over here, you're not going to have enough over here. So that was why I recommended Bullet, because he can save you. Saving you shocks saves you a lot of GBE. 3 smokes for his kill zone. Flared core a tiny bit early, and that's like the one thing I'd say there could be done better. You wait a little bit more, let the Zookas get in close. They won't spread as much, so he didn't have as much time to, since these things, he lost the delay on these things, he didn't have quite as much time to shoot at the core. So all of the Zookas did end up actually dying in a win's a win. But, so that, I mean, that's not what I'm saying. But you can have a little bit more time if you keep the delay on all of the stuff over here, and your Zookas have that much more time to shoot at the core and kill it more cleanly, I guess. Anyway, if that was his first time doing that hit, then whatever, spectacular. And finally we have No Name, who is Argus, and he did Armadillo. This was not a terrible Armadillo, but not the coolest Armadillo ever. Like, you have to park next to a flamethrower. That's not ideal. So, other than that, not ridiculous. 900 something thousand health on this core. I think we've got, yeah, it looks like 2-6 heavy Zooka again. Everything else is fairly standard here. It's just that you have to be parked directly on top of a flamethrower. So you really can't screw that up, because otherwise your Zookas will be bacon. And he does a little back flare to get some separation for his troops, getting his shocks out nice and early, because there are a whole bunch to land always on this base. And this is why you bring heavies, because without the heavies there would be even more shocks to land back here on the opposite side of the core. The heavies save you some GBE, and since the core health is never ridiculously high here, you can afford to have the heavies. So that was a pretty nice version of Armadillo sitting on top of a flamethrower, which, if it doesn't make you nervous, that's good for you, but it makes me nervous every single time. Anyway, yeah, so very good operation. I had just done a video for Fat Fingers, looking back at this last stretch of operations. That was yesterday. And then there were some interesting days before that, so we've got 2 days in a row with max force points. And yeah, figured I would come back and show a specific individual op under 20 minutes, 1131 force points, op is dead. That's a pretty good day's work. But you know, we do alright over here. Anyway, like the video, thumbs up, whatever. Take care, and I will see you later.